Welcome back, and just before we went on that break, we understand that the police service has arrested 26 people in connection with illegal mining near Samreboi in the Western region, and we are joined by Erastus and also Dr. Ken Ashibby to have a conversation on this. But before we head to them, that statement details from the police IGP says that the operation was spearheaded by the Police Intelligence Directorate in collaboration with the Criminal Investigation Department, the National Operations Directorate, and the formed police unit. Also acting on actionable intelligence, officers stormed the illegal site and apprehended the suspects, comprising 8 Chinese nationals and 18 Ghanaians, allegedly operating deep within the protected reserve. The police recovered an arsenal of tools and machinery used in the operation, including 6 pump-action guns with over 150 rounds of 3 AA cartridges, 6 water pumping machines, 3 excavators, 3 payloaders, 6 machetes, 2 Toyota pickup trucks, 1 Toyota RAV4. And the suspects, we understand, are currently in custody and are expected to be arraigned in the coming days. And Erastus is with us on the line. Erastus, what do you know about this? Unmute and talk to us.
Well, so I have been aware of the operations right from yesterday when the IGP put the team together. Remember, the IGP has promised to deal with this decisively. And I think so far he has exhibited that response which was needed. Mm-hmm. I have done series of reports on the mining along the Tano River, in Samreboi, along the airstrip, in the Tano Nimiri Forest Reserve. If you look at what is happening within the reserve along the Tano River and all, it is an eyesore. I have constantly drew the attention of authorities to this, and I'm happy that the IGP has taken such a bold step. If you see the reaction from the community, the way people are happy, farmers who can now breathe a sigh of relief, it tells you that this was long in coming.
Well, let me speak to Dr. Ken Ashibby, who has also been hounding the previous IGP to take action, especially in connection with Akonta mining. How do you react to this swift action by the current IGP, Dr. Ken Ashibby?
No, thank you very much, and have a good morning. I think it's great news to see that the IGP, beyond just talking, is now beginning to put action. And so, for me, it is important that these people who have been arrested are dealt with according to the Minerals and Mining Act, and especially those 8 Chinese. I'm hoping that what the Minister for Interior is saying is not what they are going to be doing, and say they are going to be deporting these people out. And it is important and instructive to note that IGP should know that there's a petition that we have with him, his predecessor. Governance is a continuum. Akonta mining was fingered by the former minister of being involved in galamsey. So I'm not surprised that there's some linkages being drawn. And so, because these crimes do not have any time limitation, I am hoping that as the IGP deals with this one decisively, he would also deal with the Akonta mining issue, and then also look into the situation where the NDC MP for Awen has also been accused by his traditional council of being involved in galamsey. He says it's not, and it's rather the chiefs. That case should be looked into. Again, the NDC constituency chairman for the Axim area has also been accused of by a large-scale mining firm of being engaged in an illegality. The challenge, the elephant in the room, the reason why we are not able to deal with this galamsey issue is because the firefighters themselves are become the arsonists. It's the politically connected people who are involved in galamsey. It is as His Excellency John Mahama himself will say on the 14th of July, 2024, it is the kingpins who are the root cause of galamsey. So it is important that in this particular case, we get not only to those 26 people who've been arrested, but who are their paymasters? Who are their paymasters? Get and make sure we are punishing all of those people and making sure that the law is working.
Well, you talk about paymasters, and in the run-up to the election 2024, you engaged the the candidates, the flag bearers at the time, to sign on to that petition that you talk about. Do you think that efforts taken currently by the current administration is satisfactory?
See, the interesting thing is that there's definitely a positive change that has happened. So you had this, like the IGP, for example, is going beyond the talk and doing the walk. His talk about declaration of war, it's a positive thing. And now you see, in terms of this particular action, it was intelligence-led. Those are the things you want to happen. You have a minister for land and natural resources who has shown that he's really committed to this fight. And he's pushing, he's doing a lot of the things. He's doing a lot more work than doing talk. You have the situation where the Minister of Interior also, the issues around the police reshuffle, a positive thing to do. So there are some positive actions that are being taken. But unfortunately, there are some which are retrogressive. So you had a president who promised that he was going to repeal the e-levy. In less than 100 days, I think exactly 82 days, he's repealed it. But when it comes to a promise he made of repealing and revoking LI 2462, this president is deciding that he won't go by what it is that he has told us. This is the president that his government, the NDC, when they were in position, said they were going to declare a state of emergency. Currently, we are not seeing that. And there are situations where the Forestry Commission people would go into some of those areas and they are hacked. You have the situation where a police officer, going after people on champans, who would fall in and die. You have situations where a whole community of 10,000, the state is behaving as if it's something that they don't know. So you have that also. And then you have the painful one of the deputy IGP, the deputy minister for Interior, insulting our intelligence and thinking that we Ghanaians are worthy of the bad state of our prisons, but the foreigners there, we should just be deporting them. When there's a law, Act 995, that states specifically that if you're a foreigner and you're engaged in any thing that sins against the law, you are dealt with. So yes, there are some positive signs that are being shown, but unfortunately there are some wrong things. Fortunately for us, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has invited all of us as citizens to support them. So it is important that we point them out, to some of the things that they are not doing right. And the things that they are doing right, like this particular action of the Inspector General of Police, we need to commend it and ask that more has to be done. Because, the sad thing is that we are dying. And so we all need to ensure that we save ourselves out of this death that confront us. And the media, you are the last bastion of hope for this country. And so we need to continue pushing it. As of now, we have about 7,500 people haven't signed the petition online, and there's a lot more, about the same number, that have signed physically. I'm hoping that His Excellency the President will listen to this and actually repeal LI 2462, not do the amendments that is being trumpeted.
All right. So, just before you go, how does these arrests have been happening for some weeks now? At least in the last 3 weeks, there have been many arrests in these illegal concessions. However, how does this change your campaign or strategy moving forward? Because you've mentioned some politically aligned persons that have still not been picked up, by the police or security agencies. I don't know whether it's a lack of evidence or they can't pin them down. But how does the current development, inform your strategy moving forward in your campaign against illegal mining?
Well, I think all that it says is that, one of the things that the current Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has talked about is the whole issue about the special court. Getting special court so that when these issues happen, you are able to handle it immediately. And it is the reason why you need a state of emergency as well. If you had a state of emergency in these forest reserves that are under threat, on these water bodies, then you could copy the UK. When the route was happening, you could set up a court and in 24 hours, arraign people before court, prosecute them and jail them. So these are the things that have to happen. And we as citizens need to bring some pressure to bear on His Excellency to deal with his own. I have given him 2 examples. The NDC constituency chairman for Ashibby, and then the NDC MP for our whip. These are politically connected people who are close to him, who have been accused of being involved in galamsey. The president is the same one who, when the issue happened for the national service, was, said openly that the security apparatus should investigate it. So why is this? That when it comes to these things, and he himself knows, in July last year, he was very decisive about it, that it is the kingpins that we need to deal with. Why is he not dealing with this thing and sending that? He's doing some of the things right, but this particular one, he needs to do it. And the window is closing up on us. Because, you see, in the past, it was just an ecological and health challenge. Now, it's becoming a security risk, where you have foreign mercenaries that have been brought in providing security from these people. We know the example of Mali. The recent one is Mali, where it was around these resources, and all of these combatants that they developed and then became a coup. So the president needs to, at least for his own selfish reason of keeping this country in as president, he needs to support all of us. That selfish reason would then become a selfless one when we deal decisively with these things that are confronting us. So we all need to let the president support him where he's going right, but also point him out to the things that he needs to do to be decisive. I am encouraged that in the recent times, we're beginning to see a lot of actions happening. The one that happened, where over 10,000, that community was busted. Now you have this happening. I'm just hoping that is the signs of the things that are going to come, and we're going to be a lot more decisive. So that once we do that, then we can support it with the Blue Initiative, we can support it with the Gold Board, we can support it with the issue of having the Geological Service do the surveys, and that will only give places to mine when we've done all of those work. So I believe that we are, there is hope, but then there's a lot more that we need to do.
So it looks like majority of the, or more of the responsibility is hinged on the president now. The president can take a decisive decision and that illegal mining can be stopped immediately.
I just will quote for you what the current Minister for Communications said when he was in opposition, that the Commander-in-Chief has the power. If he wants to stop galamsey, we will stop galamsey in 2 weeks. We can do it. He can, and the only person who can do it, because we have an executive presidency, it's His Excellency John Mahama. He has indicated, and I can tell you that there are a lot of things he's doing behind the scenes. The only thing he needs to do is that he needs to add to it this decisive step so that we can close in on these people. What we need to do is, and again, I know that a lot of the security things they might not tell us, but we need to have some nimble, agile, military forces that are spread throughout all of these areas that illegal mining, and get them to hit at the same time. Like the IGP has done in this one, we need to support that effort with a lot of intelligence. And then we need to use a lot of technology, get the Air Force involved, get drones involved, be able to track these people. We need to make sure that when we go and attack them, they don't dissolve and get into the forest with them and are able to regroup. But we are able to arrest all of them. If they dare fire back on the military, we return fire with heavy firepower and let people know that Ghana is not a place that will accept you. Apparently, when they hear that our Minister for Interior says they will only be deported, when they know that when they come, we don't hit them hard, the place is becoming attractive to them. But we need to stop it. And so for me, I think that the increased urgency that has happened, we all need to ride on it. So I would call on all the people who mobilized last year. I would call on the labor to quickly come onto the table. I'm happy that UTAC, for example, had officially now declared that they are joining the coalition officially. We've been working with them in the past, but now they are joining. We'll call on the TUC, we'll call on organized labor, we'll all come. I call on all the religious leaders to Christendom. Today that we are all celebrating the death of Christ, marking that we should use that to also sacrifice for our country. I call on the chief imam, I call on every Ghanaian that we should support the current, what is happening, point out what is not going right, but ensure that we are able to deal with this ecocide that is taking place and the genocide that is taking place so that we can save our country. There is a sacrifice that all of us have to do, and we should take the spirit of Easter to be able to galvanize and make sure that we will do right to save our country, Ghana.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ken Ashibby. I believe that ends the conversation this morning on illegal mining. Away from that, the Africa Development Council is asking government to channel loans from the IMF into developmental projects. The ADC also wants Ghanaians to embrace a collective spirit of sacrifice and vigilance, insisting that the road to economic recovery may be challenging, but it is not beyond reach. And we've been joined by Dr. Bright Sobey, President, Africa Development Council. We're grateful for your time on our desk. Do you believe that the money being received is not going to the right places? Dr. Sobey, are you on the line with us? Kindly unmute and let's hear you.
Yes. Can I be heard? Can you hear me?
Much better.
Great. May you come again, the question again?
Indeed. I was asking if you believe that the monies being received from the IMF aren't going to the right places.
Well, as it is the case, among African governments, they take the loan and then mostly abuse it. The reason we are cautioning the current government that the remaining tranches of the IMF loan be utilized properly.
Which areas do you think that money should go?
Well, looking at the current government's agenda within the agricultural space, in fact, agric endeavor, or the space within agric on the continent, we can do a lot out of that. So if, let's say, the government, the promise was to create, mechanization center within the agricultural enclave, that is making available agricultural input for farmers at a relatively low cost. And then we're talking of Feed Ghana. We could remember during the late Champo regime, that is Operation Feed Yourself, where you have to convert all space around for agricultural input, plants, food, all over. I'm sure it's the same for the Feed Ghana agenda. This IMF loan should be channeled towards those areas, so we make use of all arable lands around us, with government being with this, we will have food. In terms of food security, we'll have enough to even use domestically and export. And there is no, it's not out of nothing that the president also promised establishing export council or whatever, and he will be chairing it. We can have a lot from this inquiry to export. It will go a long way affecting the stability of the local currency, and the job creation, the inflation will also go down.
Right. We're grateful for your time here on News Desk. Now, moving on, the Ghana National Fire Service says it is working to prevent fire incidents in Ghana's markets. This follows JoyNews breaking the fire cycle, which highlighted concerns from traders in major markets worried about how fire incidents will affect them. We'll hear from the Ghana National Fire Service in a bit. First, let's recap our Breaking the Fire Cycle series.
The effect of the Tamale timber market fire is still lingering as some affected traders are still awaiting for support to rebuild their stores which were destroyed by the fire. This incident is part of a larger trend of fire disasters that has affected the region. It is not only the market that nothing has changed. The fire service mandated to tackle fire situations in the region said they are still grappling with over 8 fire tenders, shortage of water, among others. Public Relations Officer of the service, Baba Hudu, speaks.
We would say that it has not changed in terms of logistics and other challenges that we face. Everybody in the country agrees and knows that The Ghana National Fire Service over the period is faced with a lot of challenges. Challenges stemming from aging fire tenders, logistics, other firefighting equipment. We can also talk about sources of water for firefighting.
The service needs to be retooled to help address fire incidents.
The oldest vehicle we have in the system and in the region is 25 years. That tender or fire tender is 28 years. It was procured in 2000 till date. As we speak today, that vehicle has not been revived yet.
One spark, that's all it takes to erase decades of labor. For many, the fire stole more than goods. It defiled their future. These recurrent fires have turned these hearts of life into ashes, leaving behind shattered dreams. Most of these victims wonder how these fires occur late into the nights, with both happening on a Sunday. The causes of these fires remain glaring, with fire authorities attributing human errors as the sole cause of these infernos. ACFO2 Reverend Naomi Atubia Sapon is the Bono East Regional Fire Commander.
All the fire breaks that we've been reported are caused by human factors. That means the errors of people that cause the various fires that we've encountered.
What is even more worrying is the fact that some unscrupulous persons beyond building on access routes go about building on top of fire hydrants.
The Upper East Regional Capital, Bolgatanga, has two main markets, the old market and the new market. The Bolgatanga markets have been quite fortunate to escape fire disasters for a long time now. However, the Bolgatanga markets are not completely safe from the danger of fire disasters. During a visit by JoyNews, it was revealed that open burning of plastic and other waste is a common practice in both markets due to the lack of proper waste management systems. Linda Akupa is a leader of the Market Women's Association.
At times we just take the rust and just burn it there. So after the burning, you can't stand after the burning to go. You can just start and burn the thing walking away.
The fire risks are compounded by the congestion in these markets caused by unauthorized structures.
We as the market women, we have our place. Everybody's supposed to sit inside the shop. And the thing is not big like that.
It is not right for us to light fires anywhere at all within the market, but some do that. You might finish cooking or even smoking and fail to properly put out the fire. And if the wind blows and ignites a fire during the night when no one is here, you can imagine what would happen.
The Ghana National Fire Service in the Upper East region, led by Regional Commander Richard Absafo Sego, acknowledges these ongoing risks in the Bolgatanga markets.
We can now speak to DO2 Desmond Aka, PRO for the Ghana National Fire Service, on our desk on these developing fire stories. We're grateful for your time, sir, on News Desk.
Me, knowing that Christ.
Yeah, if you'll be able to speak up a bit for us. Can you hear me?
Yes, grateful for having me too, knowing that Christ is the reason for this.
Right. So we've been following up on fire incidents in some of our markets, yet the issues that lead to these fires still persist. Following these markets the fires that you put out, what measures have you taken as an institution to ensure that these fires that don't happen?
Okay, so let me say a very good morning to your cherished viewers. We have never been happy when these important state infrastructures are gutted by fire. I mean, beyond the fire management, we are mostly worried when you see people distraught after these devastation fires, and then you realize that they've lost virtually their livelihood without hope. Their faces beaming with despair, and I mean, all manner of uncomfortable situations that we would not sit down for these markets to continually to be burned the way they are burned all year round of all particular periods. That is why even before the end of the last quarter last year, we instituted the intensified patrols across the country, where our people were deployed to the market from 6 p.m. The night and then to 6 a.m. the following morning, and that we have been able to do till now. And ever since we rolled out that kind of initiative, you would realize that the rate of market fires have come down. There's this challenge of us not having a space, an office accommodation in all these markets that we have across the length and breadth of this country, and that is also not helping us that much. So where we have space, we have deployed our people who are constantly engaging these traders on better ways of storing and then handling their work, especially when it comes to storing combustibles and flammables alike. They have been taught how to do it in such a way that they do not create fire conditions. And again, we know that some of these fires are deliberately caused. Therefore, with intensified vigilance and then surveillance with other security agencies, we will be able to deal with these particular causes of deliberate acts in our market, and therefore we would treat all other markets, especially the makeshift ones, which are predominantly made up of wooden structures, to also incorporate this kind of modern technology where we could supply the market with surveillance cameras, and then also getting people to be in the market at all times. That is why we have also deployed our task force into these markets, especially during the night period where there is virtually no life in the market, so as to be able to clamp down on some of these things. And then also, we have also teamed up with some of the market managers, because it is not all the markets that are properly put up, that are not modernized. So with the modernized one, we have teamed up with them, and we have created enough exits, widened escape routes, and then dealt with any form of obstruction within those markets. You would agree with me that our makeshift market is where we have the biggest of the challenge, whereby those markets are heavily congested.
Right.
Therefore, we have issues with exits, widened alleys, escape routes, even the installation of effective hydrants. And therefore, when a market goes there, we need to get continuous water from our pipes, and it becomes very difficult.
Well, you're talking about hydrants. I'm also wondering, in the area of infrastructure, what has been done to, improve on your fight against fires? Somewhere last year, there was this research that indicated that you do not have water reservoirs enough to quench out fires. Also, some of the equipment you need when there's an incident. What's the situation now?
Well, when it comes to the hydrant situation, you would bear with me that it is a responsibility of Ghana Water Limited to construct these hydrants at vantage points, especially within our commercial centers, to help us have access to continuous supply of water to deal with these market fires. But the challenge is that we have the same traders having had to block these hydrant points with their structures and their work. Quite recently, we had to move into Petition market to dig out a fire hydrant in one of the shops. And that is the challenge that we are having. So we are in talks with the market managers to ensure that they do not allow the traders to put their structures and their work on these hydrants. And therefore, we are also in talks with Ghana Water to also convert the screw down type, which are normally the hydrants which are found in the pitfall, so that they can bring it up into the barrel form or the pillar type. And that one, they are very difficult for people to approach, and that is the next phase that we are moving towards. We have never shied away or hidden our challenges from the good people of this country, and we are happy that at this point in time, even the current government, led by our Excellency and the President of the Republic, Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has also added his concern to the fact that he is making frantic efforts to retool within the available shortest time, and that is what we are waiting for. So, but beyond that, we are managing to make do with our overage equipment, and that is what, even at this time, the directive of the chief officer, CFO Daniela Mausi, who is doing a fantastic job. Most of these broken down appliances have been repaired, and they've been made ready to be able to respond to any available emergency that will occur on hand. So for that, we are simply waiting for the new equipment, PPE, fire trucks, the firefighting drones, the rapid intervention vehicles, which we term as the game changers, which, when we have them, we'll put them at vantage points to be able to respond to, especially in areas which do not have fire cover, so that we can respond promptly to these fires and then related emergencies. So we are ever committed, and we want to allay the fear of the ordinary Ghanaians, the people in our market, especially the makeshift ones, that they should also open their doors anytime our fire safety educated and then the safety inspection team come around to do their inspection and to engage them, to conscientize them to be able to put their work in order.
All right,
to avoid tendencies like indiscriminate burning,
DO2 Aka, we are grateful.
Contracting illegal amateur electricians and all that.
Thank you very much for that. And DO2 Aka is with the Ghana National Fire Service. Now let's talk about Easter. The Ghana Police Service says it has deployed officers on roads and within communities to ensure safety during the festivities. A statement from the Ghana Police Service is saying that it wishes to inform the general public of its comprehensive security measures that have been put in place nationwide to ensure a safe and peaceful Easter celebration. Officers have been deployed on roads and within communities to provide security for the festivities in all regions. Also, special security arrangements have been made within Kwewu areas to cover the paragliding festival and other scheduled activities. We urge everyone to be security conscious, remain vigilant, and report any suspicious activities to the police. The police administration wishes everyone a happy Easter. On Desk on Ground, Esther Nkrumah interacts with travelers from one of Ghana's busiest transport yards, the VIP bus terminal.
Easter is a special time for Christians. It's a time where we reflect on the death and resurrection of Christ. It's also a reminder of Christ's sacrifice for us. But beyond the spiritual significance, it's also a time where a lot of Ghanaians travel to their towns to celebrate with their family and loved ones. We're here at the VIP station in Accra to interact with some travelers and also authorities here to note the safety measures they've put in place for travelers this season. We meet Joseph, and he's on his way to Kumasi right now. Hi, Joseph. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, can I ask what you're going to do in Kumasi? Are you going for Easter or to visit family?
Yeah, I can say I'm going for Easter, and I'm also going to visit family as well. Okay. Yeah.
So, you're going to Kumasi. What makes Kumasi an Easter destination for you, aside from your family being there?
Oh, okay. So, for Kumasi, you see, like there are things over there are less expensive more than Accra, yeah. Like making a comparison of prices. But then once it's Easter, that's I'm supposed to celebrate it here. I'd rather choose Kumasi because I would have less expenses as compared to me being in Accra. Celebrating the Easter. During Easter,
there are a lot of events happening. So are there specific ones you're looking to attend this Easter at Kumasi?
That's Ashanti Fest.
Okay.
Yeah, they are inviting all old timers. A Kumasi person will say OGs. Mm-hmm. So I can mention some names like they have Chicheku is coming live. Like the Kumasi actors. Yeah. So I know I'm going specifically because of Chichiku because he's very jovial and he's just a fan.
Albert, where are you traveling to this Easter? I'm
traveling to be in the Western North region. Yeah.
What makes Easter celebration special over there?
Because I've heard a lot of calls, like most of our family members and their friends are coming over, so that's why I'm going. If not that, I wouldn't go for this Easter. Yeah.
So it's going to be a full house.
Yeah, it's going to be a full house, definitely. Yeah.
I know that transport fare was increased recently. Has this affected you in any way?
Yeah, a lot. I think from here to Bibini, for the last year, I think it was 100 cities, but this year it's 130. Definitely, it has affected us a lot. Yeah.
But the increase is not stopping you from spending, from going home?
No, it's not stopping us from going home now.
So, aside from the event, what other thing makes Easter special to you?
When I think about Easter, I think about the death of Christ. And Christ came to this earth to die for our sins. So, that's what motivates me and all.
So, I have here with me the General Manager for VIP Transport, Mr. Frimpong Mansu. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
So, we're here today just to interact with you as to the safety measures that you're putting in place. We know that it's the Easter and a lot of people are traveling home to spend Easter with their families. So what security measures or what safety measures have you put in place to ensure the safety of travelers in this season?
Basically, VIP Joint Transport as the leading intercity transport services company here in Ghana, we are mindful of Easter approaching. We have had the Road Safety Authority come onto our various terminals, numbering about 75, to interact with our drivers and the staff. We actually had them here yesterday in Accra, went through various designations, pre-trip inspections, where we needed to be sure the vehicle is worthy for the road and safe to travel in.
So you've mentioned that you've had a series of meetings with the drivers, and we know that there are cases where some drivers would drive on speed so that they can get to their destination on time and return, bring more people back because it's Easter and a lot of people are traveling. So are there prescribed speed limits that you've given the drivers?
Yes, the drivers has been sensitized about having to drive within the confines of the national speed limits. So you do not overspeed. And there is a lot of congestion on the highway, so you wouldn't get the opportunity to overspeed. But what happens is that we are, as per the Transport Ghana policy that I mentioned, having to install speed limiters so that notwithstanding whatever, you are unable to go beyond what the speed limiter would request you to do.
So are there sanctions for drivers that break the prescribed speed limits that you've given to them?
There are even instances of drivers being suspended for 90 days. And being summarily dismissed. So we take discipline very, very serious, and then we ensure that they comply with the rules.
You heard there from some travelers on how they will be spending their Easter. We also spoke to the general manager of VIP, who listed the measures that they've put in place to ensure safety of travelers in this season. From the VIP bus terminal here in Accra, my name is Esther A.C. Nkrumah for JoyNews.
And it's a good time to take a break. We'll return with business.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Ghana Institution of Engineering and the Engineering Council have announced plans to remove unlicensed engineering practitioners from the industry starting July 2025. According to President of the Ghana Institution of Engineering, Ludwig Annan Hesse, this initiative aims to clean up and professionalize the engineering sector.
When you do some of these things, you provide opportunity to retain more water and minimize the risk of flooding.
Is the institution going to embark on any distress action to that effect?
Yes, there's an Engineering Council Act 819 of 2011. And that sets up the Engineering Council to regulate the practice of engineering. That same law provides that the Ghana Institution of Engineering, as a licensed body, will register the engineers or the engineering practitioners for licensing by the Engineering Council. So we've been doing that for the past few years, and we've sent some people on, and they are being licensed. Unfortunately, there are a lot more people practicing engineering in this country who are not our members, and they are not been licensed to operate by the Engineering Council. So that is a problem, and I can assure you that a lot of these people are working in government agencies. If you go to the assemblies, there are several people there. There's engineers working there. Are they all registered and licensed members of licensed to practice engineering in Ghana? And are they annually, just like the lawyers do, just like the doctors do, updating their licenses annually so that they stay in the position to be able to practice in Ghana? I would say no. And we are working with the Engineering Council. This morning I've spoken to the Registrar of the Engineering Council, and in July they plan to start a nationwide campaign to weed out unlicensed practitioners and get them to comply with the law. And we want to urge all the arms of government, central government, local government, to ensure that the engineers or the engineering practitioners, not only, when we say engineers, we have 4 levels of engineering practitioners. We have the professional engineers, we have the professional engineering technologists, we have the engineering.
Now, there are growing calls for private sector players to support the government in bridging the gap between academia and industry. Executive Chairman of the National Academy of Students Achievement Awards Ghana, Rifat Yakub Abubakar, emphasized that such collaboration will empower young people to showcase strong leadership and management skills in entrepreneurship, ultimately driving job creation. He made the remarks in an interview with Joy Business during the 5th anniversary celebration and investiture of the Board of Trustees.
To train students in Ghana such that after school they know they are not only to expect opportunities from people, hence they can also create their own opportunity and also be prepared for opportunities that are waiting for them. And the objective has been that we want to bridge the gap between industry and academia, which of course we train the students on employability skills, entrepreneurship, and then we process them for internship. The internship is the practical place where they can have the skill and add it to what they've learned from their classroom, so that it will prepare them for the job market. And then we also have the craft high. The craft high is such that it doesn't matter the program you're studying in the school, from secondary school to university, we want to give you a sellable skill, which includes the beauty, and then cosmetology, makeup, jewelry making, beads making, and that industrial skill base that the students really need. studies. So you can be reading business administration, political science, but we give you this alternative training. So you have multiple career choices.
All right, on this note, we take a short break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Desk, and unfortunately we have to draw the curtains on this edition of Desk here on Joy News Channel. There's more news on myjoyonline.com, but before we go, happy birthday to our channel manager, Kweku Owusu Prepra, and also happy birthday to Priscilla Owusu, sister to Anthony Mainu. And that's how we end this edition of News Desk. I am Amisi Nyamiche Thompson.